Hi, I'm Kelsey Mays for Cars.com, here with the 2013 Land Rover LR4. This is an SUV that replaced the LR3 all the way back in the 2010 model year. It competes with other three-row luxury SUVs like the Acura MDX, the BMW X5, the Audi Q7. We'll talk about utility, styling, drivability, and consider it against some of those competitors. The LR4's boxy styling is reminiscent of older Land Rovers from the 2000s and before. Land Rover's Range Rover Evoque, Range Rover Flagship, and the Range Rover Sport have all moved past this now with much sleeker styling, and we'll have to wait and see how long it takes for the LR4 to head in that direction. Under the hood is a 5-liter V8, good for 0 to 60 of around 7.5 seconds, Land Rover says. It goes to four-wheel drive and gets the car up there about as quick as an Audi Q7, not as quick as the turbo V6 BMW X5. But editors driving this found that the LR4 had a nice soft ride, pretty maneuverable given its size, decent acceleration around town and on the highway. The LR4 does have impressive off-road capabilities. The four-wheel drive system uses an adjustable, height-adjustable air suspension, as well as a 2-speed transfer case and a locking center differential. There's also an available locking rear differential to get all those wheels spinning at exactly the same speed. Finally, Land Rover's terrain response system has different settings that adjust various drivetrain modes for things like rocks, sand, snow, gravel, locusts, volcanoes. Not really those last two ones. Either way though, back on the road, towing capacity, again another plus here, more than 7,700 pounds thanks to this V8 engine. That's more than 1,000 pounds past the Q7. It beats the X5 by an even higher margin. It's more than double what the Acura MDX gets as far as its towing capacity. You pay for it in gas mileage though. Even though this LR4 does have a 6-speed automatic transmission, EPA mileage is 12 miles per gallon city, 17 miles per gallon highway, so get ready for some pretty steep credit card bills. The LR4 is still a very tall vehicle, about 4.5 inches taller than that MDX. A little bit of a climb for shorter drivers to get up into the driver's seat. And once you're up here, if you're taller, you might find that there's not a ton of room. One editor found her 6-foot-tall husband was a little bit cramped in the front passenger seat, and I gotta say, I kind of agree. I'm about 6 feet tall, and this is where I would sit to drive. I have the driver's seat all the way back, and so if you're much taller than 6 feet, it's gonna be something you want to check out when you test drive the LR4. Let's take a look at the second and optional third rows. The second row has excellent headroom, but the seat does sit a little bit low to the floor, and so adults' knees might be kind of dangling up in the air here. Wish the seat sat a little bit higher, given the space up overhead. Land Rover's Alpine roof here is standard in the LR4. It involves a glass panel over the second row and over the third row. Kind of nice. Gives a big sense of plenty of glass around you. Unfortunately, this netted sun visor up here is about as good at blocking out sun as the Cubs are at playing baseball. Let's take a look at the third row. Accessing the third row, a couple steps here. You gotta put the seat backs down, then they tumble forward. Gives a reasonable aisle to get back here. Seat backs come up like so. Now once you're back here, the LR4 does offer something that's rare in a 3-row SUV, and that's a seat that actually sits high enough off the ground from the third row with good headroom to spare. Now if you have to go to the home improvement store to load this thing full of stuff, the LR4 might convince you to go to your neighbor's house and borrow his SUV instead. This is a process. Folding the seats down involves, first of all, putting the seat backs down, and then you got to pull this secondary strap here to lower the seats into a position that's closer to the floor. Do the same thing with the middle seat. Finally, the outboard seat, put them all down, and that's just the second row. Third row here, you gotta put the head restraints down, and there's a 2-piece situation here. The seat cushion comes down first, and then the seat back comes down again. Two-handed process. Finally get them all down. You're looking at about 90 cubic feet of space. That's on par with the MDX. It's more than 15 cubic feet past the X5 and the Q7, so pretty good numbers there, but man, this is a hell of a process. The LR4 has become a small player for Land Rover. The Range Rover Evoque, the Range Rover Sport, and the Range Rover all outsell it. And now with the new Range Rover Sport offering similar towing capacity with an optional third row seat, it's hard to see why the LR4 still exists. So wait and see if the LR4 will be redesigned, or maybe you'll get a good deal on this outgoing one, and it might make it worth a look. Hi, I'm Kelsey Mays for Cars.com, here with the 2013 Land Rover LR4. This is an SUV that replaced the LR3 all the way back in the 2010 model year. It competes with other three-row luxury SUVs like the Acura MDX, the BMW X5, the Audi Q7. We'll talk about utility, styling, drivability, and consider it against some of those competitors. The LR4's boxy styling is reminiscent of older Land Rovers from the 2000s and before. Land Rover's Range Rover Evoque, Range Rover Flagship, and the Range Rover Sport have all moved past this now with much sleeker styling, and we'll have to wait and see how long it takes for the LR4 to head in that direction. Under the hood is a 5-liter V8, good for 0 to 60 of around 7.5 seconds. Land Rover says it goes to four-wheel drive and gets the car up there about as quick as an Audi Q7, not as quick as the turbo V6 BMW X5. But editors